The worm has turned for Ohio State. They are no longer the hunted, but they are the hunter. The team with the new coach and the new quarterback is now 8-0. People are talking about them as maybe being the number one team in the country. Doug Lesmerises, Stephen Means, Nathan Baird on this bye week. What did you think, Nathan, of Ryan Day seemed to be trying to attack that idea a little bit in his Tuesday news conference? What did you think of how he went about that?
Well, I think, again, I don't know the approach has changed really all that much because they've seen this the last 2 years where they were in good position, even if there were maybe more flaws with those teams apparent at this point of the season. And it was right around this time of the season. You lose to Iowa, you lose to Purdue, it really kind of scuttles your chances of having a special season, getting into the playoff, that sort of thing. So I really think that he's putting a lot of this on the players. And it kind of has to. The coaches can talk all they want, but unless the players believe it, and unless that sort of focus is being led in the locker room or even outside of the athletic arenas by the players themselves, that's where you're going to be susceptible to having that kind of a stumble. I think he, right now, from everything he's seen, or everything we've seen around the team and probably things he's seen behind the scenes, I think he has a lot of faith in those guys kind of taking care of business. Stephen,
you're the athlete in the group. Do you think there is a big difference for players when you go from the point of, we play horseshoes, when you reach the point of really starting to realize how good your team is? Can anything really shift for a player and how they think about things if they're not careful?
Yeah, I think so. I think at the beginning of the season, we heard it a lot. We have something to prove. We have something to prove. Ryan Day said it. Justin Fields said it. Chase Young said it. Everybody said it. J.K. Dobbins is still, giving himself low grades on, outstanding performances. But I don't know. I don't want to say it's flipped, but it does feel like 8 games later, it's like they've kind of proven their point a little bit. And so, a lot of those doubts, whether it was the 9-3 thing or it's, hey, they're probably going to have another bad loss this year. Well, 2020 will be their year after a down year this year. It's kind of flipped from that to now we can't find any flaws with this team. And they obviously felt that way in that locker room the entire time, but now they're starting to see that the rest of the world is starting to catch up with that. We just talked about how we were supposed to get Chase Young today, and now we're not because they're trying to maybe temper that a little bit. And so, yeah, you can start – these are 20-year-olds, so they can start smelling themselves a little bit, and it's Ryan Day's trying to temper that a little bit.
It was a pretty hot weekend of, wow, these guys are awesome. There were a lot of national writers here. It was a huge noon game on Fox. They handled Wisconsin in the second half. It did feel like a little bit to me like a line in the sand where everybody caught up to this, to the Chase Young Heisman thing, to how good Justin Fields has been, but also how good this team is. And I get that Ryan Day's antenna would go up about that. And I think I got the reference. He made a reference to being picked 4th or 5th in the preseason in the East, which he didn't say in the cleveland.com poll, but it's the only poll. I mean, he's wrong, but he's exaggerating. He was exaggerating a lack of respect for Ohio State. In our poll, which is the only poll that matters, they were picked 2nd behind Michigan, barely. Now, they weren't picked to win the Big Ten. Michigan picked to win the Big Ten in Cleveland.com poll. It was all over the world. That story went viral, as it should. He exaggerated the disrespect from the preseason on purpose, because that's where he is right now. He is going to bang the don't forget nobody believed in us. We haven't proven anything yet. And the reason that he's exaggerating something like that is because he's feeling these good feelings bubble up. And as soon as coaches feel that, they step on it.
The other thing I was going to say is, yes, Steven's right that this team has now proven some things that were the questions before the season. However, I think they look at it and say, have we really proven anything if we don't make the playoff again? I mean, do you want to be the guy who has to go up to Chase Young and be like, hey, sorry, you don't get to go to the playoff. I'm the one that cost you that by not trying hard enough in practice, not being ready for the game on Saturday, not being prepared for the game plan. I think it's these guys inside kind of holding themselves accountable to a higher standard than even being 8-0 and potentially ranked, within just a couple points of being ranked number 1 in the country.
Yeah, and I think that's where the coaching comes in a little bit more because, they had a coming out party this past weekend. We've seen it all year because we're here every single day. The rest of the world didn't get to see this, and now the rest of the world got to see it. And when you're when you're dealing with 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds, and you're seeing yourself on Twitter, you're seeing guys retweeting and liking everything because we're this good and we knew it. Now you know it too. You do have to kind of stomp on it a little bit and temper it down a little bit because you have to do the hey, remember last year when we lost to Purdue? Hey, remember the year before when we lost to Iowa? We're not out of the clear yet. We still have 4 games left to play, and 2 of those teams are against 2 of the better teams in the Big Ten.
And I don't care about this stuff. I hate all this mumbo jumbo. I hate this crap. I hate trap game stuff. I hate losses that are a blessing in disguise. I hate dealing with success. It's all psychological mumbo-jumbo crap. But when the coach decides to go there, I think it's interesting. Nathan, Steven, Doug, cleveland.com.